Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Atticus Monroe, but all of you will address me as Mr. Monroe, of course. And you are watching Stirring the Pot with Dawn Kincaid. But I will be going back down to Florida soon for a couple shows for WWN.
Oh, cool.
And a possible show in New York coming up, but I can't say which show it is.
Can I take a guess?
If you'd like.
Does it start with an E and end with an E? Does it start with an E and end with an E?
I'm not saying. It might be that one, or it might be the show that's on before that one.
Okay, all right. Hey, that was
Which starts with an S and ends with an I.
Hey.
It's like, you know.
Wow. Oh, that was a beautiful tidbit. I appreciate that. Hey, wait. So, I mean, doesn't that get you excited, though?
It does. It gets me excited for the future, because, like, as soon as I was on, like, that WWN show, like, I just, like, wanted, that was just a taste. Like, I want, like, so much more.
The big kahuna.
Yeah. Like, that was just a small taste. Like, you just, like, you're teasing me. You know? Like, you're just teasing me with it. And it was just felt so good, and it felt, like, so, in a weird way, natural to be, like, on a camera, I guess. I don't know. Just,
well,
like,
I mean, come on, you're Atticus Monroe. Of course it's natural. I mean, you own it. I mean, but that's the thing. If you don't own it, it shows. And if you do own it, it also shows. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. With anybody, if you're timid in the ring and you're not following through with something, you know, and I hate to say my dad, he's so critical. He's like, oh my shit, are you kidding me? You know, kind of thing.
Yeah.
You can see when somebody doesn't follow through and it looks like you did not follow through.
Right.
You know, but then when you really follow through, it's like, wow, you did that very well, you know, kind of thing. So it always shows no matter what, and people see it.
Yes,
you know, so your character, like I said, I've grasped on it from the day one, and I think that happens with a lot of people. And then when we don't see you for a long time, and then when you come in, people freak out when you come in, like, and I don't know what your relationships are with other companies right now, because you've been to many.
Yeah.
But I'm going to use Battlefront specifically, okay? And I have to, because I didn't see you for a while. Yeah. You came to Battlefront, and the people knew you because of the area.
Yeah.
And son of a biscuit, if they weren't screaming at you like you've never left. So that imprint of your character, I mean, I'm stressing it because this is all about character, because without character, there's no manager. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And you've taken that and really Sevenfold just made it a wrestling experience, because the fans, if you're not, like we set off from the top, if the fans aren't reacting, what's the point?
Right.
But man, screaming at you, little girls, their mothers, and oh my word, and I just get tickle pink. I like crack up seeing that. I love every second of seeing that. It just makes me crack up so much.
That's awesome. I'm happy.
The product, I like to get the view of, when I'm in these interviews, of the product. If you even, do you watch the product being WWE?
Yes, I do. I try to watch every week. And AEW is pretty fresh now, so I'm starting to...
Right around the corner, baby.
Yeah, I'm starting
AEW.
to watch that and get in, like, you know, in tune with that and seeing what's going on with that. Because I have
Tonight is All Out.
Oh, it is tonight?
It is.
Oh, okay. So maybe I'll take a look at that later.
$50.
Oh, is it?
That's the drawbacks to these pay-per-views, though.
I'm all out for that.
You know? Yeah.
Sorry.
It's $50. Like Bleacher Report gave us a live last time for free, which I mean is amazing. But I know a company can't survive on that.
Right.
But man, $50, I can't survive on paying that.
Right. That's a lot.
You know,
for a pay-per-view. Back in the day, that's how much they were for even WWE. Like $50 every month, $30 every month, without the network.
Right.
But that's what I think they might need to do maybe in the future. Get like something, I wouldn't say like a network, but maybe something where it can bring down the cost of a pay-per-view.
But I think that comes with wrestling fans and their friends is you come together, and if everybody pitches in, I've 1,000 times have done that. But, you know, back in the day we had, you know, the old Gerald boxes that, you know, weren't so illegal.
Yeah.
Oh, man, we used to have pay-per-view parties every stinking weekend, you know? It was so much fun, but nowadays it's not like that. You have the network, and you have this, and everything is more personal. Not that everybody watches wrestling to themselves, but, you know, if you could get that camaraderie of wrestling fans again and watching All Out with, say, even 6, 7, 8 people and pitching a few bucks each and make it worth it.
Right.
AEW really looks like it's going to be a lot of freaking fun from here on out. I mean, it does.
I have a few of my friends that work for them.
Sonny Kiss!
Sonny Kiss
is amazing.
I love Sonny Kiss. I cannot say, I love Sonny Kiss. And, like, I'm just so happy for Sonny. Like, worked so hard and just deserves this whole platform, and to even spread, like, the gay community and everything like that. Like, it's such a positive direction for that. And I really think, like, being the poster, I wouldn't say poster child, but like the face for that, like, nobody better than Sonny Kiss.
Sonny and Nyla both right now.
Yes, Nyla Rose.
Are really, really showing. And this brings me back to my interview with Aubrey St. John. And she was just like, the Sonny Kiss and Nyla thing, it's the same thing. They broke through barriers and walls and kicked down a lot of shit. And went through a lot of shit to get to... Whenever I heard Sonny Kiss was going to be in Lucha Underground, I lost my crap. Like, are you kidding me?
I was like, yes,
yeah,
buddy.
Like, it was so amazing. And now AEW and... AEW is going to be on TV. Coming very soon in October. And I've now known, I just found out this morning, they released that it's going to be called All Elite Fleet.
Okay.
That is going to be the TV show.
Okay.
All Elite Fleet on Wednesdays at 8 o'clock.
Oh.
Now, at the same token, WWE NXT is going to USA Network for 2 hours live. Okay? They've made a multi-year deal, and now they will be shown on the network, but you can only watch it the day after now, NXT.
Oh, okay.
So now, WWE is getting a little sketchy. AEW is coming in, and now NXT is only on the network. They made a deal with USA. Now it's going to be on USA Wednesday nights, 8 o'clock, same time slot. For 2 hours.
Little competition.
So this is going to be very interesting. The Wednesday Wars are about to start.
Yes. That's going to be very interesting to see what happens. I'm excited, though, because I feel like wrestling needs this. It needs some competition. And, and something different to look at. Like, the WWE product, I feel, in my opinion, will always be there, no matter what happens at the end of the day. WWE will be here forever in wrestling. And, like, AEW is just another alternative. Like, you have Impact Wrestling, you have New Japan, you have Ring of Honor. There's so many different places that you can watch wrestling. It's not just one place anymore. It's all these different platforms, which is amazing. And you get all these different things and, you know, study these matches from this place. And this person, your favorite wrestler, could be in Ring of Honor. Or they could show up in Impact the next month. Or, you know, just never know. And it's so exciting to be in wrestling, I feel like, right now.
I've said it a million times. We are so flourishing right now for wrestling. It's just like so crazy how many, not only companies, but now there's a lot of schools. More now so than ever.
Like every state, every city, I feel like has a wrestling school now, which is amazing.
Do you feel that the product at WWE, because they've tried to change over the course here and there, but they've kept to this PG-13 or whatever you want to call it, and they've stuck to their guns on that.
Yes.
Do you feel that this will be a healthy war of nutrition, I guess, because we're going to find this out, AEW and WWE.
Right.
Because WWE's ratings used to be like years ago in the Attitude Era, like 14.5 million would watch a week.
Yeah.
Nowadays, if you get to 3 million a week, you're very lucky. At one point, it was under 2 million, either Raw and or SmackDown, over a weird course of a time, not that long ago, within this year frame.
Oh, wow.
Do you think it's going to be a healthy relationship to flourish both companies at the same time, or do you think this is going to be like Vince just trying to stomp out the piss ant being AEW? Because I don't know what to expect out of all of this.
Right. Like, to me, too, it's like, it's exciting because, like, right, you don't know what to expect, but I really think it's going to be flourishing for both companies. And I think, like, the ratings for both will go because people are going to want to tune into AEW and see that different alternative to what WWE is bringing to the table. But then you still have those loyal WWE fans who are going to tune in religiously every single Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday night now. So I really feel like both sides win in this situation. Like, I can't choose AEW or WWE. I love everybody that's succeeding. So, like, if AEW succeeds and NXT are doing so well in ratings, that's fine with me. I love it. Both of them, kudos to them if they do really well.
Well, I don't know what the heck I'm going to do, except I kind of do, because it brings me back to the days of the Monday Night Wars. I would take 2 TVs and I would put them both on.
Would you really?
And my wife would absolutely hate me, but watch them every single week. Know exactly what was going on because my kids were all down, with it. I'm going to have like 13 devices on, like, to watch all of this stuff that they're throwing at us. There's so much going on.
There is. It's a lot, but, like, sometimes it can be overwhelming, just the amount of stuff that they do put out there. And it's like, okay, we got Monday Night Raw, Tuesday Night SmackDown, now NXT on Wednesday nights, plus AEW, and then you have, the pay-per-views every Sunday or whatever. I mean, it's a lot.
There is a lot of content.
It's a lot, it's a lot of content, but it's so exciting now. Like, just give me more.
And we cannot forget about Beyond Wrestling because they have been making quite the mark in the last, a major mark in the last couple years. I could so see you in Beyond Wrestling.
Oh, yeah.
I really could. They have this Uncharted Territory thing that airs Wednesdays on the independent TV. I've watched probably half of their 18 episodes live as they would have aired. I see a lot of our, names that we've seen: Anthony Green, Josh Briggs, Chris Dickerson. The names go on and on in there. Skyler.
Yeah.
I could so see you in Beyond Wrestling and being on TV. Maybe that's something you should, maybe kind of, reach out and see what happens,
Drew, hello.
Is WWE what got you hooked to wrestling?
Yeah, I started watching when I was, like, real little, like, going over my cousin's house, and we would wrestle in his basement, and we'd wrestle for hours and hours and hours and hours, and we just watch WWE all the time. But there was this, like, one match that just got me hooked, and, like, I loved it, and I knew, like, from that day, like, this is it, this is what I'm gonna do. And it was Triple H versus Mick Foley at the Royal Rumble. I think it was at Madison Square Garden, and I don't know what about that match, but it just captivated me, and I loved it. I loved, like, when The Rock came out, and I hit Triple H with the chair, I think it was, or one of them. A
repetitive amount of times?
Yes.
It was Mick Foley.
Mick Foley, okay.
He took, like, 13 chair shots from The Rock.
Why?
Yes.
But that match, I don't know what it was. I don't know. Like, when Stephanie, too, when she would come out with Triple H, she would just add to him more.
Another element, as we spoke of.
Yes, and that just, like, really was like, okay, wow, this is real cool. Like, this is exactly what I want to do, despite all, like, the thumbtacks and all that. I don't know, just the match itself was just beautiful story told, and I loved every second of it, and I knew that was the match that got me hooked.
We spoke of barriers that Sonny and Nyla have torn down. I've interviewed Aubrey St. John. She's had many of those similar things to go through. Did you find yourself in any of those barriers at all?
Like, a little bit, but I would have to say I'm very fortunate that I really don't have to go through that. Like, some of the other Some of my colleagues had to, which is very unfortunate. But I think it's too is like the group of people that you surround yourself with really like speaks volumes, and they all stick up for me and didn't even bat an eyelash when I would tell them, you know, hey, I'm not exactly straight. They embraced me
like
with
no
open
biggie.
arms. Yeah, but then you would get those couple of people who would, you know, say comments towards you and everything, but then you just like brush it off and you're just like, whatever, you're just mad 'cause I'm living my best life and you're over here pouting about something. So it's just like, at the end of the day, like, I'm very thankful for that. And another part of me is like, I don't care what people say about me because I know who I am at the end of the day. They don't. They only see what they see in front of them, like the character. And like in the locker room, like I'm me, but I'm not 100% myself, if that makes sense. Like I don't give away too much of who I am because I like to be private. I like my world to be mine.
I feel you.
In a way. So it's like you see parts of me and it's like, that's not all of me. So you can't judge. I mean, you can judge me because you see what you see in front of you, but like there's more to me if you just knew. Like being gay is just part of me, but it's not. I'm not a bad person. I don't go out committing crimes and, you know, doing bad things. It's just
No, really? You just don't randomly go do stupid shit because you're gay? Really? I did not know that. I mean,
wow.
But that brings the, you know, the I hate to use the word ignorance because it's such a it's a crazy word that could go in many different places. But that's what brings like people to hate on people and stuff like that. They put up these blinders and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? Like it's kind of weird, man.
Yeah.
I've always stressed that whenever I've ever started, however this ever evolved into me bringing my stupid phone into people's face and doing this Kincaid stuff, I would never, ever disrespect anybody in any sorts of way, and I would always be neutral. And I told this to myself from the very beginning, whenever it like actually drew a spark.
Yeah.
Gay, black, white, straight, fat, tall, skinny. I don't care. It's all part of it.
Yes.
Because it's life. It's all part of the same life that you know what I'm saying. So, interviewing Aubrey, I told my daughter because she's very LGBTQ.
Yeah.
I can never say that correctly.
I have a hard time too, and I'm gay. Like, oh wow.
And she's very loves the community because she's gone through a lot in her life, you know, trying to find her identity.
Right.
And whenever I told her that I was going to be interviewing Aubrey, she was like, "Oh my God, I have to see that when it's done." And I go, "How many episodes have you watched?" And I'm calling her out on the second episode. She's going to totally kill me. And she said, "None." So the Aubrey one was the first one that she was ever going to view. So different, my point being is different people hit different other people in different ways.
Right, exactly.
So I could show her interviews. Hey, I've got Moonshine McCready. I've got Alex Rojas. I've got Atticus Monroe, and she's not familiar with these people. Yeah. I've got Fogman. I've got Aubrey St. John, and I put it out there because I knew of her association, that she's a trans.
Right.
And my daughter's like, "Oh my God, that made a spark for her." You know what I'm saying? So my point being is different people hit different other people in different ways that really attract, in different ways, just like, I find where I see people like, you know, doing this kind of snickering or, you know, want to put up these walls because you're this or that, or you can't work with this person or can't, that pees me off so bad. I did not mean to like harp on this subject, but I find it's very relevant because nowadays there's so many people trying to become. Everybody wants to be part of wrestling, and there's so many different facets of people. Yeah. Nyla Rose and Sonny Kiss, again, are two people that are really breaking down barriers to make that happen. And if I'm not mistaken, Aubrey mentioned there's only 11 trans wrestlers right now in the world that are actually working.
Wow.
So I did not fact check that, but I didn't even know how to do that. But I think because she would want to know more or have been in that world more in depth, I would have to agree or, you know, think she's correct. So it's such a small world in such a vast sport. How being a skinnier guy, being gay, and you deal with so many men that are big giant dudes that are more on the straight and on the straight side. How do you get through those times? I mean, it's got to be tough. I mean, it's got to be tough. You got to be driving yourself crazy.
Sometimes it can be a little difficult because there's a lot of guys that take off their shirts and got nice bodies. I ain't gonna lie, I can look, but I ain't touching. But no, I keep it professional, because you have to. It's wrestling.
I think I'm blushing a little bit. I don't know.
Yeah, you just I don't know. I try to keep it very, very, very professional because I know you don't want to make somebody feel uncomfortable and everything. I would never go up to some wrestler that I thought was attractive and be like, oh well, I think you're on bee's knees. I think you're hot as shit. And blah, blah, blah. I would never do that. Just out of respect for them and I feel like they do the same thing for us. As long as we're very respectful, we don't touch. We don't I think that's the line.
Doing your job at the venue is pretty much what it comes down to.
Right.
Do your
it's a
job, and everybody.
At the end of the day.
Yeah. You just isn't it bee's knees a 20s reference or maybe even the late 1800s?
It could be.
Why the bee's knees?
I don't know. That just came out of nowhere. But, hey.
I don't even know how long we've been talking. I could talk to Mr. Atticus. Would you like to talk more? Because I can continue.
We can if you'd like to.
I would love to. I don't want to take too much time out of your day, and I don't want to pee off Mr. Atticus Monroe. Let's get back into the name. Mr. Joseph DiNucci was your previous name.
Yes.
Is that your shoot name, if you will, the real name?
Okay, so Joseph is my real name, I guess you can say. DiNucci is my mom's last name, and we're related to Dominic DiNucci. So I said, I don't want to keep Naraki, which is my shoot last name. I was like, that doesn't sound anything. I was like, DiNucci. I'm like, we've got some relation in wrestling there. So I was like, well, I'll just bring it on. It sounds cool, DiNucci. So I just that's how it came about. I just used that as my wrestling name for a while. I was thinking about really changing my last name to DiNucci, for real.
For real?
It's everybody calls me that, even as Atticus Monroe.
They
I still get called DiNucci. What are you doing, DiNucci?
All the time, I know.
Oh yeah. I'm I'll never go away, which is fine. You can call me DiNucci, Monroe, Atticus. I mean, in this ring it's Atticus Monroe. Outside you can be DiNucci, whatever.
Are there any besides the grand poobah, if you will, being WWE? Would that be your goal? To get to the WWE?
I think that's everybody's goal. It should be. If you're in this business, I feel it should be your goal to walk down the ramp of WrestleMania in the main event. I feel that's everybody's goal. But now there's so many different things AEW and Ring of Honor and Impact,
with all
things
the
change.
Options,
There's so many you can still become successful in wrestling without WWE. It's weird as that sounds, but you really can, and I've seen it on the indies, indie guys well, I'll take Jordan Grace for example, who I think is a phenomenal worker. I think she just got an apartment or a house or something. I don't want to put words in her mouth, but wrestling paid for that. And she wasn't signed to WWE, AEW. I mean, she's an Impact knockout, but wrestling can pay. Wrestling can be a real career for people. Right. A lot of people don't understand. You really can make money if you do it right.
The smaller stuff, I never realized how much free stuff that goes on. Guys walk away beaten, battered, bloodied, cut, hurt. Maybe not all the time, because that's not every event saying that's the case. But guys drive 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 hours at times.
Yeah.
And they don't get paid.
No.
Sometimes it's $20.
Hot dog and a handshake sometimes.
The passion to be in wrestling has to be so immensely over the top, and kind of to a point, it has to overtake your life, because if it doesn't, you cannot persevere through those kind of elements.
Yeah.
Do you find yourself time and time again trying to persevere in wrestling? Is it that?
Absolutely. Every single time, like I try to like persevere, and it's like whether it's the drives, whether it's performing, it's like it's hard road. I'm not gonna lie, it's not an easy road. The drives too. I think the traveling is what's more grueling on like my body per se than like yes, this like totally takes a toll on your body, but I feel like the traveling is what really like gets me sometimes.
Yeah.
Is those long drives, but you just have to like push through it and be like, yeah, it's worth it, even though if it's for like $20 or for very little money or a hot dog and a handshake. It's like being in here, there's no other feeling in the world. And like I've done a little bit of acting here and there, and I've done different things, but there's nothing compared to being in the middle of this ring with a live crowd. Nothing.
So this is where you want to be.
Yeah.
Out of all of the aspects.
Yeah, like I've tried different things, and I feel like there's no feeling like no other. Like you'll know what works, what doesn't. You'll get that, that boo, that cheer, and it just there's no other feeling like walking out that curtain, walking in this ring, and just
Is there anybody that you have specifically in your mind that was your best client, if you will, over the time you've been a manager? Because I've seen you with a lot of people, and you can come out that door, and it doesn't matter if you were never with them. You can actually make them work every single time, no matter what. I've seen you with the closers the most.
Right.
Do you have a favorite, or is it just all of my work is pretty equal? I love it all. There's really no...
Well, like, yeah, like I wouldn't say like I have a favorite at all. Like working with, like I've learned so much from everybody that I've worked with, whether it be the closers, whether it be, some, I don't know, like just some Joe Schmo, like I don't even know. But like it didn't matter to me who you put me with. Like I enjoyed every single moment working with somebody because I learned something from them. Whether it be something small, something big, like I've learned so much from every person I managed. Like I managed Tequila Rose, who is Rosalie, the makeup queen, killing it in Florida Girl.
Yes, she is.
Like I loved working with her. Like it was so different because not a lot of girls had like managers, and it's just like I felt like we meshed so well.
And she has a great, oh my goodness, she has a great swagger, and you two together were very like. That element,
yeah. Like I loved working with her. I loved working with like everybody. Like the closers, like will have like a place in my heart because that's like my first like group of guys like I managed, and now like you have TK Orion who's in Ring of Honor, and Brad Hollister who I just learned who's injured at the moment.
Yes,
which
he just had surgery yesterday.
Oh, did he?
Yeah, him and Hammer are both injured, and they both had surgery.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Well, I wish them speedy recoveries and hope everything works out for them.
And Mr. Bacon on his free time has been doing a What's Sizzling with Bacon, doing a podcast.
Oh, that's cool. Good.
Yeah, he's had, like Flip Gordon, and that kind of per se people. Like I started this because I felt that I see so many of the men and women in our area, and there's really not an outlet to do interviews. I don't even know if anybody's ever done interviews before, and I find that I run into that I was their first interview ever, and I'm like, this is awesome, this is amazing, I would never expect that. So I'm finding it's being utilized, and people are viewing it, and we're having some fun. We're finding out a lot. This session I did not expect. I thought it was going to be a snarky Atticus from beginning to end. This was so informative, so enlightening, and I've loved everything about it. So this was like the total opposite. Just like I interviewed Mr. Jimmy Mees. I thought he was going to break people's faces and break people's legs through the whole thing, and he wasn't. He was like this lovable person. He was such a great interview. The bad thing about that is I've had 2 interviews with a bunch of footage corrupted on a freaking memory card. So I can never get that magic of Mr. Mees back.
Oh, no.
So I have to go back and reshoot our interview. Hopefully we can try to recreate some of that. Yeah, but this was the total opposite because I really thought I never expected so much information out of Mr. Atticus Monroe. How often do you train a week?
I'm here, we train Mondays and Wednesdays. Sometimes I'm here on my off days. It all depends because I have a shoot job, 2 people. So it just depends. I try to come here as often as I can and get in here and then go lift the weights and just try to better myself and, get better since the opportunities are starting to arise. You gotta be there and you gotta, have it right there and then. When they say go, you gotta be ready.
It's stay ready, don't get ready.
Right, exactly.
Being able to get on some equipment, keeping your cardio, because managers need as much as an athlete does on that ring. And I mean, there's, some managers that aren't in the best of shape or whatever. And I'm not saying they can't do that job, but I think that's very smart on your part because now you're a very active person outside that ring. So, keeping up with your regimen is probably the best thing to do for yourself.
I get tired, trust me.
To stay ready.
I get blown up just yelling. Never mind running. I get blown up yelling. I go to the back, I'm like, you're right? I'm like, I'm so screaming. Oh, yeah. But yeah, I literally get blown up from screaming.
I look over at the ring next to us. It doesn't have a canvas on it or nothing. It looks, I've done a small clip of a video or post-event one time at Atticus Strength, or Battlefront, I'm sorry. And I look at those boards with that little bit of tiny cushion and that little cover of the canvas. F that. For real. F that. I don't know how you guys do it. And I brought this up earlier with you, but I just look over there. It's freaking metal frame with these long ass thick wooden planks that go across, and that's it. And I'm like, you guys are crazy.
Yeah, I think you have to be a little to do that.
And that's my point. Do you have to be crazy to be a wrestler?
I think so. I'm not trying to put it in a bad way, but I think you gotta be a little bit crazy to do this.
I mean, some kind of, they say a songwriter. Would somebody just please, a girl come and make a relationship and hurt my heart so I can create a new album? And so it almost seems like a lot of things have to happen to create an artist.
Yeah.
And in wrestling, I find everybody I talk to that's different has always had some kind of experience that has brought them into wrestling. I use it for an escape out of, for the general bullshit of life or whatever. And that's what I've kind of generally used it for, is that something that's used for what I like to call, because of a coping mechanism, if you will, at times. Is it something that you put in your life and you have in your life, you keep in your life for that escape?
Definitely, because life gets hard, no doubt about it. But coming here, it's I get to escape from reality and, do my thing here. And, whether I'm at a show performing for that 10 minutes, 5-10 minutes, whatever, I just feel nothing else matters around me. And when I come here, I feel the same way. All right, I'm here to work, I'm here to train, and all the bullshit is checked at that door before I walk in, and I come here and I do my thing. So, and then after I leave, that's when all the bullshit, I think about it. But when I'm here, that's,
It kind of just goes away. Isn't that weird?
It is. It's it's so weird. You get hurt, but it's I was waiting for this all day to get slammed. And it feels so good. It hurts, but it feels so good.
You spoke of the drives, and the drives are part of, if I don't go with my dad, it's a solo drive. And that's that much more time that you're okay, the bill's this, or that person that, or my relationship that, or those things are still rolling as you're driving down the road, either listening to a podcast or the radio. But son of a bitch, there's some kind of magic little dust or something that happens. I pull in said parking lot. I start walking to the venue and open the door, and shit is just poof. It goes away. Like,
right.
I don't know how that happens.
I don't either. It just happens.
It is so weird that wrestling makes that happen, and it's a draw for me that brings me back over and over. I try not to get into the behind-the-scenes drama or politics, and there's plenty of that.
Oh, yeah.
And I always, and one to another, from top to bottom, really. And I try to stay out of all of that stuff because I like to have a relationship with all of you men and women. I think it's a very fun time. I have nothing but utter respect for every one of you, and I have a fantastic time coming to the shows. And I have to thank you a million times over because nobody knows me, and little by little it's been a networking thing on Facebook because I did a Twitter for a little bit, but it's been a process of networking on Facebook. And I always, 1,000 times over again, thank you so much for when I come up to you, you're always willing to stop. You're always willing to take a picture, do a video, no matter what's going on. If you're taking a picture with other fans or if you're in the middle of a conversation and someone's peeing you off, you always stop. Take the time, and I'll always appreciate that. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
But that brings me to the professionalism of a professional.
Oh, thank you.
Because without that, it's like I'm an older guy that's in a wrestling audience. Wrestling is supposed to be built for the younger generation. And I'm going to bring Tom Burke up for a specific reason. His statistics are just off the charts. He and a friend of his did some numbers back and forth, observations over shows. And they counted less than a handful, two handfuls, of young children under the teenage years. And everybody else was like a young adult being 20s and up, being older adults into their 80s. How would you... I guess I want to ask you because I think you have a fantastic mind for the business.
Thank you.
How would you turn that around to bring that younger generation back? Because it's missing that element. And Tom Burke brought it to my attention, and now that I think about it, it's like, what the hell happened? Was it the Attitude Era? Was it, where are we? How do we get the children back?
I think WWE does a very good job of that, because they have a lot of kids, like the fan base and the PG thing. It's like hard for me to say personally because wrestling has changed so much. It's not about the kid generation. It's not about, getting those kids. There's young adults and there's adults that watch the product and that want to enjoy it, not just the kids. I mean, it's about the kids. It really is at the end of the day, but it's like there's still that other range of audience, like that love wrestling, that want to see wrestling. And so, I honestly don't know how to bring the kids back, and I wish I did. But, I feel like wrestling has changed so much, so it's, not just about the kids. It's about another audience, about the preteens and going into the adult years, and it's about the adults, and it's a whole different ball game now, so.
It really has become that, and a weird transition over the course of a decade. The kids have become the minority at the smaller independent shows and such. I can understand something maybe, and I don't want to put a negative on it, but Beyond, their shows are pretty much standing,
Yes.
And that adds to a different element to the wrestling. And people that go to Beyond, they don't want to sit no more.
No.
Beyond has put out polls, what would you prefer? And more than 90%, they're like, pretty much after chairs.
Yeah.
We love the standing environment. But that's what they've come to accustom now.
Right.
That's only over the course of the last couple years, per se,
I see a lot of companies, too, starting to do no chairs and everything. I feel like Beyond Wrestling has, made it more intimate for the fans, even standing around the ring instead of sitting there and being barricaded, per se. Just sitting there not being able to touch the ring or anything, but you see those fans and they get all up in it.
They are
on the mat and they just love every second being so close. I think that's Beyond made that element so special. It's the fans are real up close, besides just sitting there and be like, yay, good job guys, keep going. No, they're all up in that thing. And I've been to an Uncharted Territory show and they're wild fans.
They get into it.
They do. They do. And it's so awesome just to watch because it's like the enjoyment on their faces being adults, like not even the kids. Like the adults enjoy it a lot more now than the kids do. So it's like it's really awesome to see like adults getting back into it. And like, I used to watch wrestling as a kid, and now it's like they're getting back into it because it's so different now. And they're like, oh yeah, I love this. It's going to a show like Beyond, like if they have a 21 plus, like they love that stuff. Like, love it. So it's so different now. And
it is. We talk about the evolution, and it's just become something different. You know? The flourishing of wrestling has drawn out so many old fans that gave up once WWE turned off the Attitude Era.
Yes.
And they're like, I don't want to deal with this dumb crap. And they ended up just getting away from it. I've taken a year off here or there from wrestling. I mean, you've taken time off per se from the ring, but do you get away from like wrestling all in general? Have you ever gotten away from everything wrestling before?
I wouldn't say everything because I honestly think like you can't get away from everything wrestling once you're in the business, or if you're a fan, I feel like it's constantly going to be there no matter what. If it's on your news on Facebook, if it's like on Twitter or TV somewhere, it's like it's always there. So like when I stepped away for a little while, that was kind of like the goal, was to like take a break from everything. It's like, okay, like no ring stuff, no watching wrestling, just recharge, get your mind right. But like no matter what, like I would see wrestling every day on something, social media, this and that, wrestling here, wrestling there. So I was like, okay, you know, I obviously can't get away from it forever.
Right.
So I was like, you know, I'm just gonna have to just get used to it. And I recharged, and I was like, I fell in love with it again, because I wasn't in love with it for a while. Like there was a point where I just like I left for like a while, and I just didn't care anymore because like it just wasn't fun. Like no matter what position I was put into. No, like I totally loved like positions I was put into, like PvP, say, like I was in main events all the time, and Blitzkrieg I was with, you know, the champion, and I was such great positions. And I think people like made like I don't know how to say this, but like I think people misunderstood me. Like it wasn't the fact that I wasn't happy in wrestling, I wasn't happy in my life, my personal life as well. So I feel like I had to get that back on track before coming back into wrestling, because sometimes I couldn't check my stuff at the door. And I would get so wrapped up in my personal life at shows, like I just didn't care about it. So like I felt like the recharging and the refueling really like lit that passion under me again, because I missed it so much when I was away. And like I knew how to come back with something different, and this was different.
Working with somebody like EC3, I see that memory pops up, and you make sure that it pops up.
It does.
Was it a one of those surreal kind of deals with EC3?
It was like okay, because I used to watch him on the old NXT version, like when they would have it. I remember watching him on it, and I thought he was like so funny and entertaining.
That was when there was like a mentor and a student, correct?
Yes. And I forget who was his mentor. I think it was Daniel Bryan. Maybe?
No, that was the Miz and Daniel Bryan. That's how that whole relationship came about. Yes. I forget. That was a while ago.
Yeah, see, it was so long ago. But yeah, like, I remember watching him, and then when he went to TNA and started becoming like
the Carter,
big, big name, and started really getting that momentum going, and became the champion and everything like that. And then when I finally had my opportunity, like to be in the ring with him, it was just like amazing. I was like, really? And then like Hornswoggle too. I was like, what is going on? I was like, is this even real life? Like I remember going there that day, and I knew I was working with Hornswoggle that night.
Okay.
And
which is awesome in its own right.
Exactly. I was like, heck yeah. I was like, I love Hornswoggle. Like this is gonna be awesome. So yeah, I go there, did the match, whatever. And then EC3 comes up to me after a match that I had one match that night. I was handcuffed to the ring or something.
No, really?
Yeah. So like after that match or whatever, head to the back, and EC3 comes up to me. He's like, "Oh, what are you doing tonight?" I'm like, I had to manage another match that night. It was a tag match, and He's like, well, after that. I was like, oh, nothing. He's like, oh, you want to be part of my match? I was like, oh, yeah.
What?
Of course I do.
So he approached you because he saw your previous work?
Right. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, he really enjoyed my, like, he would pull me to the side and, like, tell me things, and which I was so appreciative of because, like, his mind is so, like, really good, and, like, I use the stuff that he tells me to this day.
So, could you give us maybe a little snippet? What would EC3 tell Mr. DiNucci on the side? Just a little tiny tidbit?
Just like the, okay, so like just the way like I like move around the ring. And like, yeah, I'm really dramatic and everything, but like I learned to tone it down a little bit so it's not over the top. It's still over the top, but it's not super over. And he like really like told me like to do that and be like, you know, tone it down a little. I think if you do something this way. And I'm like, oh, I never thought about it. And so that's like where I get like some of the advice from him, and it's just so helpful.
Awesome.
Hornswoggle too was like a dream.
I heard he's one of the nicest
nicest guy I've ever met. Like just so sweet, and was like. Did he dap your hand because he wouldn't shake my hand? I don't remember.
Because I went to introduce him to the Radish sisters. We were at a Beyond show at the Americana. And I go, Mr. Hornswoggle, and I went to introduce myself, and he was like, kind of like that. And I was like, oh, maybe he's one of those germ guys? I don't know.
I don't even remember. Like, I probably went to shake his hand, and he probably did the fist thing. Yeah, like, you know. He was just so sweet and just so amazing.
One of your favorite memories of working?
I think like that is definitely a career highlight for me.
Yeah.
Like that and the seminar will forever be like the two of my best moments.
If they don't call you up per se, well, just hypothetically, because we want you to be called up, because if just seeing you in that one match gave me goosebumps watching you walk out that damn curtain, I can't wait to see you on effing TV. I cannot wait. You have to get on TV.
I hope so.
and I'm being selfish just because I want to see you on TV.
Thanks.
Oh shit, I forgot where I was going with all of that. I don't know.
You just want to see me on TV?
I just want to see you on TV. Oh, hypothetically, if you do not get the call up, is that something you can absolutely take with you and be like, you know what? I'll never regret that. It gave me such a great life experience. And you know what? Wrestling is always there. So it's not like I can never go and do it again. Right. Because they have them all the time. Well, not all the time, but, you know, would you go to the next one if per se you did not get that call up? Would you go and try to do it again and again, and if that's what it took to just keep plugging away?
Yes, I definitely would. Sometimes the financial situations do get in the way.
That's true.
But definitely would. Such a life-changing experience, and the people that you meet, and it wasn't like a competitive environment, which I thought it was going to be, like wicked competitive, and like nobody like didn't want to talk to you or none of that. Not at that seminar. Everybody, and I mean every single person in that room, uplifted you if you were falling behind, if you were, you know, messing up on something. Like they were, no, like you can do this. Like you can do so much better. Like we believe in you, and it's like it really like made the seminar so much more enjoyable. And I think that's what made the experience so much better as a whole, is having that, like, because you need that, like. In wrestling, it's grueling. Like sometimes you don't have that support system, but being at that seminar and that tryout was the most amazing experience because everybody just wanted you to succeed no matter what. Like even if you didn't get picked and somebody else did, like we were all happy for everybody.
Right.
So it was just like, I would totally recommend if anybody out there watching this, do a WWN seminar, because that will change your life, your career.
So is it, the cost can't be cheap.
No.
Could I ask, just generally, you don't have to give details, is it more than 1,000?
No.
Okay.
No.
Because, there are schools that charge, 1,000.
Oh, yeah.
And I feel that's so much.
It is.
Like,
it's outrageous sometimes. Like, you see those prices and you're like, oh my God.
Yeah.
Like, But this seminar, it was under 1,000. I'll say that. It was under 1,000, and it was 3 days, and it was the best 3 days of my life.
Cool. I'm so happy to see you, because you could see the energy and the enjoyment and the excitement and everything that goes with it to wanting to go down there. So before you left, you were down there, you still had that same amount of energy, excitement. Then you're coming back home, and we see on the Facebook, we see that still, that same amount of energy and enjoyment through the whole process. So I'm sure it was just amazing for you.
I was in awe the whole time, like learning from Robbie Brookside and William Regal. I was like, are you kidding me? I was like, this is a dream. And it was like learning things that they do at the Performance Center, and like knowing that I'm one of the select people that know what they do, and like passing on the knowledge, because that was big. What they really want us to do is pass on that knowledge to other people and get them ready in case they, ever go for a tryout or whatever. But like it was an amazing experience, and I'll never, ever forget going down to Florida. And that was my first time in Florida, first time debuting in Florida, like doing anything of that nature on a plane for wrestling. Like, so many firsts. Like, I'll never forget the experience.
Since you were down there, might I ask, did you happen to hit up Miss Rosalie and JC?
I wish I did. Like, unfortunately, like, they live, like, on the opposite side of the state.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so it was like, oh, God, 5, 6, 7 hour drive.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so I was like, next time though, when I'm down there.
I see, you do have some connects, so hey, you might want to just, get into the ear down there and then pass that around a bit.
Definitely.
I could definitely see you shining down there. I mean, it's a sunshine state.
Oh, yeah. It was beautiful. People there are so nice. Not like Massachusetts.
Mr. DiNucci,
what?
I have...
What did you just call me? Rewind. Take 2.
That was very interesting. Mr. Atticus Monroe. Cannot believe I didn't. Even my bald spot feels really warm right now. You feel that you can continue this for quite some time? Do you have a set time limit on what you want to do in wrestling, or what's going on with your schedule?
Okay, so I feel like as a manager, I have more of a longevity in wrestling per se, just because I'm not putting my body on the line as much as the wrestlers are, and which I commend them 100%. Like, I do bumps and everything like that, but what they do is incredible, and kudos to you guys. But I feel like I have a longevity, like a longer thing to do in wrestling because I am a manager. But I do, I have goals for myself, and I have a time period, and I told myself, when I'm 30, if nothing happens, I'm done. Because when you're 30 and over, I feel like they don't look at you as much. When you're young and you're hungry and you're in that physique and you're in the prime of your life, and I feel like that's when I'll really start moving back more, is when I turn 30. That's I don't know, I feel like that's my plan.
Very interesting. We'll have to keep our eyes...
5 years, guys.
We'll have to keep our eyes open to see where Mr. Atticus Monroe goes.
Yes.
I feel it should be. I've always said this, and anytime you share your, I have open dates, or who out there is looking for, for me to fill some dates, or however you would put it, I always try to share that. And I always say, every single time, Mr. Atticus Monroe would be a fantastic addition to any event. And I always do that. And I say that from the heart, because that's no bullshit, because you do. You add that element, as we spoke of earlier.
Thank you.
And when I asked you if we could maybe connect to do this interview, I was so excited, because I've seen you for a while, and I just thought you would be very interesting, which this turned out to be absolutely interesting from beginning to end.
I'm glad.
And I think I'm done being blushed over calling you the wrong name. That was the stupidest thing I've done all day long.
Never again, Mr. Kincaid.
This environment is always amazing. I love the wrestling environment. To do it inside the ring has been a pleasure.
I've never had an in-ring interview, so this is the first too.
This is a first for you?
This is the first. I've never actually had a sit down and talked about my career before. This is a first.
Oh, wow.
So yeah, I've been on center ring and everything. This is a sit down, nitty gritty, get down.
So maybe before we kind of get out of this, is there anything that I haven't touched upon, or a topic that you would like to speak to of the fans, to your peers? Is there anything that you got on your mind that you just want to get off? Or, I mean, because I don't know what to ask. I just roll with the punches. So whatever comes out kind of comes out. So if there's anything I missed that you would like to speak about, please, you are more than free to do so. But if there isn't, hey, that's good too.
We touched on this a little bit. It was managing how it's kind of like a dying art. Mm-hmm. And as corny as this sounds, like my goal is to bring it back, is to revive it in a way. Like I know it's very low, like on the scale, like very low. But I feel like I want to be that person to really bring it back up in this area. Even if it's just this area, like I feel like I did something right. Like I just want to be a helping hand and like really help those other people like get over, and guys that can't get over on their own or that need help with like mic skills. Like I just want to be that helping hand. I want to help those guys out so much, and I want to be like, I just want managing to be revived again, and I want it to be respected and not looked at as like, oh, you're just a person standing out on the outside of the ring. Mm-hmm. No, I actually can add to a match. I can actually, do this and that, and I'm more than just somebody standing on the outside of the ring. Just like a referee, like they're that awkward third man in the ring, but they add so much to a match, and I feel like managing can do the same in the sport.
I think that's the most fantastic message you could have absolutely put out there, because of, we did talk about how it hasn't, I mean, look at WWE right now. Where are the managers?
And
I mean, for real.
NXT, they have Robbie E now who manages. And
amazing, right?
Robbie E, by the way, if you need some more help learning how to manage and stealing my swag, you can call me.
Whoa, hey, did not see that coming. I could so see you taking your character and being on TV yesterday.
Oh, thanks.
I mean, really, I've always enjoyed your character. And again, you make the crowd react, which is exactly your job. You've done your job very well in any show that I've ever seen. I cannot wait to see you do more and maybe see Atticus evolve down the road even more, because if Mr. Atticus gets on TV, you do absolutely know 1,000% there's going to be another, if not more than one, evolution. Because like you said, you have goals. Mm-hmm. Do you already have something set after this? This look?
Yes. I look into the future. Like I know what I'm going to do 2 looks from now.
Wow.
So, yeah, like you gotta, like, I feel like, who said it one time? I think it was Undertaker actually said it. And he was like, you gotta constantly like think of what you're doing next, even after that. So that's how I like want to stay relevant. And I try to tell like the newer people that come in is like, when they're lost and they don't know who they are yet, and I tell them it's fine, it takes time, because it took me a while to find out. I trained to be a wrestler, went into a ref, and now I'm a manager, and I feel like I found what I'm supposed to be. Mm-hmm. And I told them it takes time, but like you have to, like, evolve. Like when you do find yourself, like, think of stuff next, like, all right, I can do this next and that next and this next. But it takes so much time, and it's not an overnight thing, which, like, to me, I wish it was. Like, I wish I'd been like, oh, managing, that's it. Like, no, you gotta find yourself, and it's a long road, but like once you find yourself, it's like, you're like, oh, I feel at home now. Like, I know, like, this is what I'm supposed to do. Like, this is the character I'm supposed to be, or this is the person who I'm supposed to be.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, we all look forward to seeing you on TV. Oh. And if you haven't seen it, look up the WWN Live. Look on their page. Scroll down a little bit, and there's like a 3-hour or 2-some hour, I think it was like a 3-hour show. Mm-hmm. And right about 2 hours and 1 or 3 minutes and some odd seconds, I want to say that's where you start up. Mm-hmm. And you can watch the whole event, but that's where Mr. Atticus Monroe shines.
Yes.
And it was a pleasure being able to see that. It was very cool. That was kind of, like I said, surreal for me, because I got to see you on my device and, per se TV,
It's weird.
Yeah, it was really cool. So look for Mr. Atticus Monroe on TV. It's coming soon. I know it's coming soon. It has to come soon.
It will.
So I'm going to do this. This was Stirring the Pot with Don Kincaid. I feel like we've been here for like quite some time. Like hours and hours and hours, and I feel like we've gotten a lot out of Mr. Atticus Monroe.
Sucked all the information out of me.
And I hope I did not suck all of it out of you. I hope I did not take all the information out I could at once, because we would like to do a sequel down the road and see what happens. But this was Stirring the Pot with Don Kincaid and my very, very special guest, Mr. Atticus Monroe. It's been a pleasure. My pleasure, obviously. It's been my pleasure this whole time. And I can't thank you enough for your time. I can't thank you enough for all of the information you gave us was amazing.
Well, thank you for having me.
And you really did pull back the curtain. I did not expect that. I thought it was going to be a little more, but you did a fantastic job.
Thank you.
One of my favorites. I'll always look back. I can't wait to rewatch this. I love rewatching this.
Yes. Oh, yes. I can't wait to see it. I actually can't wait to watch it myself.
So wait until you see the future of this one. Thank you so much, Mr. Atticus Monroe.
The pleasure is all yours.
It's